central and most important question when it comes to retirement planning is the question, when can I retire? It's the thing you need to understand most in order to make good decisions as you adjust your behaviors leading into retirement or adjust your behaviors in retirement. So in this video, we're going to try in less than 5 minutes to address the question of when can I retire, and we're going to break it into 3 components. The first is we're going to address and define the term retirement. We have to have a definition of terms that make sense so we can be talking about the same thing. The second thing we're going to show is a very simple mathematical model that can be used as a baseline to help understand the financial side of deciding when to retire. And then third, and we're going to be addressing the fact that retirement is dynamic. So welcome if you're new here. My name is Amzalag. I am the owner and head financial planner at Peak Financial Planning. We are fiduciary, fee-only financial planners. We do financial planning and wealth management with clients all over the country. And we, in this video, will be addressing the topic of when can I retire? So as I mentioned before, there's 3 components and we're just going to go one by one. The first is defining the term retirement. So the best way to define this term is probably based on behaviors. And I like to think of it as retirement is when your work becomes optional. It's not actually necessarily attached to an age or a timeline. Using an age or a timeline is almost destined to create bad results. If we just think that retirement is age 67, but we're not financially prepared, we are going to create a train wreck that could be avoided. Conversely, if we think of it as a destination that has to do with the ability to make work optional, we can then assign values to when we have the ability to make work optional. So that is how we define retirement. Some people still choose to work in retirement. That would conflict with the conventional definition of retirement. Some people will choose not to work and retire much earlier. So there's this blend, and I think the clearest definition is the one I've just outlined. Now, the second point, which is the simple math model. Now, I've done a longer video on this called How Much Money Do I Need to Retire in 2023? And you can watch that video if you want to see a much deeper dive on the full math model along with all the nested decisions. But it's actually pretty simple to start to calculate and understand how you can determine when you can retire based on how much money you need. All right, so it's really pretty simple. The first thing you need to understand is that your portfolio or saved assets are only responsible for a portion of your income. And what determines your ability to retire is whether your portfolio can support how much you'd like to spend from the day you stop working until the day you die. So there are a couple assumptions that have to be made there, and you can watch the longer video for those assumptions. But the idea is just your portfolio is only responsible for a portion of your income. Now, what is responsible for those other parts of your income? You have what are called guaranteed income sources. Those are things like work. If you choose to continue working, you're in control of that, right? You trade your hours for dollars. You simply show up and say, I'm willing to trade hours for dollars. You can control that. The other sources of guaranteed income are Social Security, which is a guaranteed stream of payments from the government where you are not involved in any of the portfolio construction or the risk management, and the market results don't have anything to do with how much you get. The third source of guaranteed income would be annuities, which are insurance contracts where you pay the insurance company to insure a stream of payments back to you. Again, I have a separate video that talks about annuities. And then the fourth and final source of guaranteed income here would be a pension. If your employer offers a pension, that is very similar to an annuity. You just don't pay an insurance company. You have paid into it through your employer, through the lifespan of your work. I'm not advocating for any of these things. All I'm explaining is what you can do is use a simple math model, which we'll show on the screen here, which says, if you know how much you'd like to spend in retirement or whenever you want to stop working, you know how much you want to spend, you can deduct or decrease, subtract from that number, your sources of guaranteed income, the total dollar value, and then that will leave you with a remainder, which is called your required portfolio income. So for easy math, let's say you would like to spend $50,000 a year for expenses in retirement, and you have guaranteed income combined from all your different sources of $35,000 per year after tax. Well, that would leave you with a $15,000 remainder, and the question there is, can your portfolio support that? That would be your portfolio income. Now, to figure out when you can retire, what you need to do is take your age, make an estimate of how long you think you'll live, find out how many years that is, and then you can divide the portfolio income number into your age. Now, in the other video, I'll explain how other things like inflation and portfolio performance and market performance relate. But this leads to our third point, which before I get to the third point, the idea is just that simple math model can tell you roughly how much you need in saved assets in order to survive for the rest of your life for someone who is going to consider work optional. Now, there are always things you can change over time, and this is not telling you when to retire, it just gives you a rough idea. But that simple math model is the basis for all of the future decisions, which leads to the third point that was at the start of this video, which is that retirement is dynamic. It's not a static thing. You don't arrive at a certain age with any kind of guarantee or insurance that retirement will work. It's really largely up to you. So it's very important to think of retirement as dynamic because your guaranteed income sources could change. The United States could change the Social Security claiming age or how much they pay out, what percentages, to whom they pay. Those are things that are outside your control, but they're really important when we're making the calculation. Portfolio values can change. Your personal health condition, your age, your health, your family status. Those are all dynamic things. And so, yes, while you can answer the question of when can I retire using that math model, it's really important to also understand that that process is dynamic. And what you really want is a bunch of contingency plans that help you plan for unforeseen circumstances that you will need to then respond to. So your retirement plan is a bunch of if-then statements. If this happens, I have this plan to then do this. That's very important to understand. So when can I retire? The way to address that question is to address these three questions that we mentioned earlier, which is defining the term and making sure that that definition is suitable for you, understanding the math model, and then there's offshoots of that, and then understanding that retirement is dynamic and making sure you have plans in place before you make this big commitment to work optional life, and then that will help you sleep well at night. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how we address the question of when can I retire. Obviously, this could be a 1-hour video or a series of 1-hour videos. In our practice, it's a series of many, many hour-long conversations. That all being said, thank you for your time and attention. Hope this was helpful. If you have questions or comments about the subject matter in this video, you can leave it in the comment section below. If you'd like to watch the original How Much Money Do I Need to Retire video, I'll link to it up here on the right and also in the description below. You can visit our website for tons of helpful resources and guides. Those are at www.thepeakfp.com. And as always, thank you for your time and attention in this video, and I'll see you in the next video.